You introduce us. Wow.
Hey everybody, it's Crypto Chick here with Crypto Magazine, and we are celebrating Crypto Mondays. Welcome.
So yeah, thanks Crypto Chick.
Welcome.
So I'll move over a little bit now. And,
Can I sit there?
yeah, you can sit there.
All right.
So yeah, hey guys, welcome to another edition of Crypto Mondays. We actually have a full evening planned tonight of panels and then lightning discussions, lightning talks about our community. So yeah, so we have two guests for our panel tonight, Alex and Vince. So I'll let them introduce themselves before we launch into it. So you have the speaking bear.
Okay, great. Yeah, so first of all, I just wanted to start by saying thank you to everyone for showing up. Appreciate that, taking the time to be here. Definitely important to most of us. Thank you, Pravi, for allowing me to speak today, share some thoughts with you guys. Thank you to, everyone that showed up to the speakers and the attendees of Miami NFT Week. I think that was a great event that was successful. And thank you to the FAU Research Lab that allowed me to meet Praveen today. So I thought that was a great opportunity where the school brings a place where we can all meet and have great
Yeah, you made the
research.
Final Four.
Right?
Congratulations.
Yeah, Final Four.
Yeah, so Alex is a current mechanic at Tesla, and previously, before he moved to South Florida in LA, he was an operations manager for UPS, which is very on topic for today. So we're going to talk about this panel on logistics, and also he's going to talk briefly about his open source project, NFT Mint Engine.
Yeah, NFT Mint
Yeah,
Engine.
JavaScript project. So
Right.
looking forward to hearing from you, Alex. And then Vince, man, the super hacker of Miami.
Thank you, I guess. I'm really just a cloud engineer. I do Golang and Rust stuff and a lot of mobile projects. If anyone's used the Chick-fil-A app to order chicken, well, I did half of that. So you can thank me for your damn chicken.
Right, and you worked on the Nike and
I
the
worked at
Metaverse
Nike.
projects.
I
Yeah,
was doing that stuff.
we pick all the most humble people, man. I gotta do their elevator pitch for them.
So
They bury the lead.
I'm not really. I mean, it was fun, and I'm not that. Yeah, it was NFTs for Nike, the crypto kicks. I worked with NBA as well, doing Top Shots and some side like Gucci and stuff like that. I was working a bit with them.
Nice, and since AI is such a hot topic, we'll talk about that with you a little later as well.
All right. Well, the stuff I did with AI really wasn't. It's interesting, but it's not really whiz bang. It's really just like trying to figure out who's qualified for a credit card.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, and then prior to that, I was at VMware for a while, like prototyping some new product lines for them.
Cool. All right, so we'll launch into the panel now. So the panel is going to be on supply chain and smart contracts. So just to for the audience, right? There's a large community out there. Just people just use blockchain. I know a lot of you out there are just like Bitcoin maxis or just NFT folks. But there's people who actually, believe it or not, just use blockchain as a technology without the cryptocurrency aspect. So I think we're going to talk about that today, especially with the guy from Tesla, the UPS guy. So just to set the stage, with supply chain and blockchain, right? There's a large legal framework that goes into shipping and receiving and freight forwarding. Like Miami is a international commerce hub. So, for example, every time you do a shipment, like we talk about this from UPS days, there's freight forwarders, there's invoices, there's contracts for the supply chain. So all that can be put in a smart contract. So specifically, I know you're studying economics and computer science now in college.
Right.
Let's talk about how do we translate a written legal contract from a shipper into pseudocode that can be fed into a interpreter to make a smart contract. So basically, how do we take the net 90 days or the free on board, how do we turn that into symbolic code that can be made into a smart contract?
Yeah, so really a lot of that is going to take information. So a little bit about my background that I haven't said is that I am 24. I worked at UPS as an operations manager there for about 3 years. It's a big facility that operated next day air, so it had an airstrip connected next to the warehouse. And so what I saw was, just the influx of packages coming in. The way that was mainly managed was information. So information from one computer, from one system, from one person to the next person that package is going to go to. So a lot of that information, if we can create, logic that is readable and legible to the user and to the contract reader, we can kind of see how we can get that information from one end to the next end, creating that connection of smart contracts, right? Solidifying, did this person receive it, and did this person get that next message, right? So really almost like UPS, you're able to track your packages. That's the information that we can turn into smart contracts.
Yeah, I know. Very specifically, if you guys remember, there's always news articles or things on TV about at Union Station, LA. Alex is from LA. They had all these Amazon shipments. They're basically on the side of the railroad tracks, right? It's just trains being robbed, people throwing away the stuff they didn't want onto the side of the. So it's a big issue, and if you can automate that, I know the UPS guys always have the little device, right, to do that. So when something, I know you're responsible for 5,000 deliveries a day, right? Yeah, it's amazing. So say you got a shipment and you're missing one piece, right, out of 10, right? I know in the shipping world that's like a partial, you have partial damages, right? Partial liquidated damages.
Yeah.
How would we translate that into a smart contract, right? We're not going to invalidate the whole shipment. Only part of your shipment is missing or stolen.
Right.
And if I can jump in, it's not unusual to take a pallet at its destination, chop it up, and then repalletize it and ship it in a bunch of different directions anyway. Mm-hmm. So, I just wanted to say it's kind of a common use case.
Right, exactly. So the way these packages really are coming in by the freight, and so there's hundreds of packages in there, thousands, right? Even smaller packages, maybe a couple thousand there. What happens is the freight package gets tracked from where it's going to the next destination, and all the packages within them already have labels. So once you give it to the packager, when you give it to them as the customer, they create the labels, and these labels are all overall going to one container. And so that container is connected to this package. So creating layers within that can match what you want, where is it going, did it get there? If one didn't get there, then we create a different set of logic to kind of get that validation there that didn't go through.
So let's go one layer above that. Let's talk about your time now currently as a mechanic at Tesla.
Okay.
So say you got a part, right? Or just say generic mechanic, I don't know how Tesla specifically works. Say you got a part and it seems fine, you put it in, and then a day later the customer comes back saying the part you gave me didn't work, but the shipping was probably fine, right? So how do we create the smart contracts where it's interconnected to not just the shipping, but actual defective parts you got, because the shipper has to return it, right? An RMA. Or would that be even possible right now? We should just count our wins and move on.
Yeah, so I can't necessarily speak for Tesla how they would do it. What I can say from my experience is definitely Tesla operates in a way where you can't just go and order parts. It's everything's done within. So if it's a part that the customer needs, Tesla's going to handle that, and they're going to deal with it how they need to, and then just bill or sell it to the client. This is what you're missing, what you need to get done. This is the problem. And they identify the problem to really make sure that the customer just knows what the issue is and how we can solve it.
That's cool.
Does Tesla use a lot of blockchain?
Right now, I don't believe they're using any blockchain on the systems we're using. However, I think a lot of systems like logistics and different types of messaging can definitely be turned into smart contracts, which is really just blockchain connecting and talking to each other.
Sure. Let's open it up to the audience. If anyone has any questions, you can either ask on camera or you could just speak loud from where you are. So any questions? All right, that's fine. So let's move into your open source projects now. They're both or your projects. So Vince, can you talk to us about your NFT projects that you made with Nike?
I can now because the non-disclosure stuff is over with. Basically, I was just doing technical due diligence when acquisitions. So, not a whole lot to talk about. It was just a bunch of innovative companies that Nike was thinking of buying.
So how would you do due diligence on a company
I
that
would-
they were looking to acquire? These are
I-
NFT companies, or
Well, they were blockchain innovators. They had.
yeah, you're underselling yourself, man. It actually sounds
Well,
very exciting.
It was
Actually
interesting.
startup people.
It was interesting. I don't really know what more I can say other than, like, there was one concept that Nike was big into, which was
Well, let's say I had a startup, or our friends here in the audience had a startup, and we're looking to get acquired by Nike. What were you looking for to give a yes or no to the acquisition?
well, I wasn't really the one that chose the companies.
Okay.
There were candidates.
But once it got to your desk, what were you looking for?
I was basically tasked with looking at the technology, their tech stack, and spitting back a report. Like, what's the tech? Like, how would this benefit Nike's current systems, for example? I didn't do
So what were some red flags that we should avoid then from the technical staff that
Really-
you would immediately say don't buy this company?
I never had that authority to say don't buy anything.
All right. What personally, what would you advise us not to do? It's a red flag.
I really don't have a whole lot to. I can't quite talk to that in detail. These people were smart. That we were. I would say that we were generally looking to acquire the people more than the technology.
Oh, acqui-hires.
Yeah, because they demonstrated that they were actually able to think in beyond the box.
That's cool. Is this
And-
like Silicon Valley TV show? You get hired and then you can like retire on the job for 6 months, or is it you actually do real work?
There
after you
was
get
a lot.
hired?
There was a lot of technical debt, and
All
almost
right.
everything I looked at. So,
All right, man. So I guess you still have to keep working after you made your money.
right. Honestly, of my projects, I would say that wasn't the toughest one because I was really just looking at the code and responding back as to what to do with it.
Oh, okay. So Alex, I know you have a really cool JavaScript open source project. Why don't you describe that to us and in the state of development?
Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, I made this project a couple months ago. I was just tinkering around with some smart contracts, tinkering around with how to connect MetaMask wallets onto regular web page applications. I ended up finding out how to do those things. So the first thing I did was create a project called NFT Engine. This project was pretty much dealing with minting.
And we'll post a link onto the YouTube description. So
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, definitely check it out. And so basically what I wanted to do was three main things. I wanted to connect MetaMask on there. I wanted to allow zero gas fees with anything that you wanted to create. So if you wanted to be an artist, upload your things. This was going to be a website you can go to visit to have all your projects on a PDF and then mint them using Rarible. So that was the third thing, was where can I put the NFT projects and art that people create onto a platform. And so I connected the MetaMask on the webpage, made UI for it, and officially just put 2-3 things: description, name, and the PDF. And so with that, you can upload it. It goes to your MetaMask account, and you go to Rarible, and there it is,
Without any gas at all.
without any gas.
So we have a question from the audience. Why don't you introduce yourself, and then you can be on camera if you want. Yeah.
My name is Frank.
Hey Frank.
How's it
Frank.
going? But I just want to ask Alex.
Not his real name, but maybe it is.
Just want to ask Alex a couple questions. For being in this field for so long and really trying to put your foot forward, put your foot through the door, and really pushing yourself in this field to go down the road, how are you trying to like separate yourself from a lot of people, or what can you tell people to get started or separate themselves from the typical engineer, or really show yourself out? What's so different about you?
Yeah, thank you, Frank. It's a great question. So I came from California. A little bit about me didn't get to share is that I came from the greater Los Angeles area, so about an hour away from LA. Still very connected.
You
to
know
the
Tom
roots there.
Cruise?
Tom Cruise. Didn't get to meet Tom Cruise.
The answer is yes, man.
Yeah. And so that
Let me hear it again. You know
Where's his
Tom
body
Cruise?
double?
Yeah. I met Tom Cruise one time at a liquor
That's
store.
cool. He's your best friend now.
Yeah, so that was, it's been a great time. I
We have
grew
the
up
same
there.
agent, right?
I wanted to definitely do something with my career. So I decided I didn't have a career. I was working at operations, right? I love management, but I wanted to build something for myself because COVID had happened. So what I decided was to move to a location where I saw trends of technology moving, and I had heard of a lot of crypto startups coming here to South Florida. So that was what brought me here, and I really am doing it for my family, to inspire others. You can move what you need to do to achieve the things you want to do. A lot of that really is what keeps me going. You know, how can I build this career in software technology, but really financial technology, whether it's logistics, blockchain, right? Utilizing these things. Being in that niche of financial technology is somewhere where the banking system hasn't really caught up to. So I think that is where my niche falls, and that's what separates me from the thinking of what other people are doing in software.
Yeah, it was interesting. Like Alex and I met we had a robotics blockchain meetup earlier today. It was actually for the Vegas community. We did a Zoom call for them from obviously here in South Florida. But the thing that struck me was when he described him coming to South Florida, you know, he made it sound like the immigrant experience, right? Like immigrating from LA to Miami, the same way like some of our parents might have immigrated to the United States. So it was a big change for him, or you know. So I'm glad you did it. But I never really thought about it that way. It's like Miami really is a different type of animal than the rest of the country. So yeah, I guess you're getting used to it now. You're still here, Frank. Yeah.
And where do you see yourself in 5 years down the line with your career?
Yeah, 5 years. I really want to be. Great question again. So I came here to work with other people, work with new ideas and new technology, seeing a definitely different perspective of the way people live, the way people are, the way people work. And so with that, I really want to work with other people to build these startups that they're building. That's the most important thing to me, but also see what type of technologies we can create over the next 5 years and how good of an engineer, you know, I can be and help others around me with their products.
Sure, and then you're also studying economics as well. So I know, where do you see the intersection of your economic studies with cryptocurrency? Like I know there's like tokenomics, or just how do you see your studies being related to your blockchain career?
A lot of it is seeing what are the principles in financial technology, what are the financial institutions that are doing right, rather than what they're doing wrong. We can always see what people are doing wrong, but what are they doing right? What are the good foundations? And then move those applied, you know, typical principles into blockchain, which creates like a solid state for us to know we can trust, you know, money and the way things are moving now, especially with banking situations going on today. There's definitely room for improvement, and that dislocation is somewhere where I think that there's a lot of opportunity.
Nice. And final question for for Vince to.
Okay, I agree with everything you're saying because there's a serious friction point in the financial industry right now. There's a lot of like gray hairs basically that are used to just doing paper and recording their paper transactions. Blockchain has a lot of opportunities, so I guess it's a good idea to start like a younger generation.
So Vince, can you ask him? So pretend his NFT product. NFT Mint NFT?
Mint Engine, yeah.
Mint Engine came across your desk for acquisition by Nike, right? So just evaluate this. So what are you looking for? Or just ask him directly as a developer about what would you do to evaluate his project for acquisition now?
What would I do?
And you're on the hook because you're going to own 1 Bitcoin at the end of this question, so make it a good question.
Really? Okay. I didn't really ask questions. I just looked at the code and
all right, just
found some
describe your stack to him in a way that the audience can understand your tech stack.
It's a JavaScript stack.
It's
right?
a JavaScript stack. So it's really the simplest stack. I didn't want to complicate anything. It's a very simple website. Like I said, I just needed MetaMask, like a MetaMask connection, which was a JavaScript, a Rarible connection, which was just using an API to connect everything.
But I do have a question.
Yeah.
When does the NFC actually go on chain?
It takes a couple seconds.
But it's
within
literally
a couple
on chain.
seconds. Yeah, within a couple seconds, it'll give you a link, give you the NFT contract, and then you can go ahead, click that contract. It'll take you to Rarible, and there it is on your account.
Okay, but when it hits Rarible, it really is on a chain, though, right?
Right. Exactly.
So we have a question in the audience. You can come to camera if you want. Yeah.
What is the max file size that you can upload? Is it just PDFs? Can you do videos as well? Do you have plans to do stuff for like unlockable content in the future?
Really, that's more up to the artist's control. If I just wanted to give the option to give a free mint, right? So because it takes money if you're an artist, it takes money to create these projects. So the best way to do it is to do zero gas fees. And so you don't have to pay for that. It can upload. The only limit there is that you're using Rarible, and Rarible is not connected to the other sources, right? So it's just singular there. My next idea was, do videos. So right now it's only taking JPEGs and PNGs. That's pretty much what art you can use to kind of upload digital art, the basics. Moving into videos, moving into different types of GIFs and things like that would be a great concept. And giving more access to other platforms, I think, would allow more artists to kind of express themselves.
Cool. Frank.
And with all like your ideas, how are you going to network it with other people or employers that want to grow your ideas and promote your ideas?
Yeah, so thank you. So basically I think relationships is the best thing, communicating with people with what you're doing. If you simplify things enough for everyone here in the room to understand, hopefully we can build those connections and we can meet people and work on technologies that are still developing.
Great, man. So thank you so much, guys. So we're gonna open it up now to show and tell, lightning. So if you guys do a 2-minute pitch, show and tell of your projects, just come on up in front of the camera and just have it preloaded on your phone or iPad, your laptop. Yeah, thanks, Alex. Well, welcome. Welcome to South Florida, 2 years. Just want to go? You can show you can maybe put it in front of the camera first to show your screenshots.
Who wants the doll?
I'll take a shot.
Okay.
This is awesome.
Dave, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, what's up?
Come on up, man.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
You gotta appreciate it. Yeah, David Porter, working with Washington Elite and Bruce Porter Jr. So we developed Impact Protocol. It's an update for Global Boost BSTY chain, which started in 2014. Now we have the proof of stake Web3 capabilities. The tokens going, the coin's going crazy on the market. So check it out, BSTY, and we'll be looking for impactful projects. We want to help them build and develop, and we're also looking for ones that do make some profit, as well as do some charitable work for them.
Yeah, we're trying to get you involved in the Eco Hackathon for Earth Day.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Yeah, when's that
Is
coming
the
up?
crypto chick still here?
And then that's when you can set the
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, we have to have. Yeah. Actually, we should have someone else interview you. I already did my. Who wants to be in the interview chair?
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah. We have a guest interviewer. Come on up. Seems like they already asking questions.
Are you that famous?
Hi, how are you? We're here to ask the hard questions.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm Julie.
Nice to meet you, Julie, David.
Hi.
All right, let's just start over.